Fine, he has these aspirations, but he's going to have to get past me Saturday night.
And I'm looking through them, bro. I'm looking through them.
So Patchy Mix made his UFC debut on UFC 316 against Mario Batista, and all I can say is that this was probably one of the most underwhelming performances I've ever watched in my life. Mario Batista went out there coming off a very pitiful performance himself and was hated by all the fans. Patchy Mix had all the hype in the world. He's going to be the savior to destroy Mario Batista, what he did after Aldo. He goes out there and just gets absolutely destroyed on the feet for 3 rounds. He does not look like he belongs in the UFC.
Who give him that? We have to check that moment. And we have to cancel.
The big narrative that all of these people are making is that because Patchy Mix was in Bellator before he came to the UFC, this just proves that people outside of the UFC cannot hang with people in the UFC. But I don't necessarily agree with this sentiment. I honestly think that it's more of the UFC's fault that Patchy Mix had terrible success in this fight. So I, Tony Has Died, will be explaining why Bellator fighters are having so much trouble while other fighters from other promotions and other fighters out of Bellator aren't. So it's not just about them being from Bellator. It has to do with who they're being given in their debut. So what do I mean by this? I'm going to use Rainer de Ridder as the perfect example for this. He was a double champion at ONE FC. He fought at middleweight, light heavyweight, and he even fought for a belt at heavyweight. He lost it. Who did Rainer de Ridder get given in his first fight? The classic middleweight test. Gerald Meerschaert goes out there, has a really good scrap with Gerald Meerschaert, but people are like, dude, this just proves why the UFC is so much better. Look how close of a fight he had with GM3. This guy was a champion in another promotion. And that's what the point I'm trying to make is that they did not feed Rainer de Ridder to the wolves. And now they have a great UFC fighter on their hands because of this. So then we saw Rainer de Ridder fight Kevin Holland, and he looked like a much more improved fighter in that fight than he did in the GM3 fight. And so we start to say, okay, he's put 2 wins together now. And then he just beat Bo Nickel in his last fight. He's 3-0 in the UFC. He was a champion in another promotion, but I don't see anyone bringing up Rainer de Ridder when we're talking about this conversation because people want to just bring up Bellator fighters. Well, I think the main problem is that they're feeding these Bellator champions to the wolves. They're giving them really hard fights in their debut. Mario Batista just beat a top 15 fighter of all time in Jose Aldo. I know you'll say it's a wash Aldo, you could say it's a robbery. He still had an impressive performance against Aldo, whether you hated him or loved him for that, bro. So saying Patchy Mix sucks because he was fed to the wolves is kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's just kind of like thinking in the moment and not really thinking about the broader force of the UFC. On the exact same card, Kayla Harrison, who was the PFL champion, won the belt. So why are we talking about Patchy Mix being a bum from PFL and Bellator when Kayla Harrison, literally PFL Bellator fighter, comes to the UFC, fights for a belt, and wins? It's because Kayla Harrison didn't go straight towards the top. I swear to God, if they gave Kayla Harrison her title shot in her debut, she probably would have lost because she needed these fights to form herself into the fighter that she's become. She had to fight Holly Holm, she fought Caitlin Vieira, and then she fought for the belt. I know you could say Juliana Pena sucks. Juliana Pena is at the peak of her division, which is a crazy thing to say, but she is a 2-time champion of the UFC. If you just feed her straight to Juliana Pena when she's only been at Bellator and PFL, of course she's gonna fucking lose. But let her build her resume, let her build her skill set, let her acclimate to the new level that she needs to be at, and I think that she had a lot of success and she's going to be a success for the UFC. So another person that fought recently, Patricio Pitbull, got absolutely decimated against Yair Rodriguez. He just looked frail in this fight, which is crazy saying that fighting Yair Rodriguez, but look what they gave Patricio Pitbull. Yair Rodriguez has been in the cage with some of the best featherweights in the world. Volkanovski, Ortega, Korean Zombie. You know, this dude fought BJ Penn. He's fought all these fucking names, bro. He's been in the UFC. He's been at that level. And say what you will about Yair being a fucking duck right now, but he still belongs at the top of that weight class. Giving Patricio Pitbull Yair Rodriguez in his debut, it's fucked up. This guy should not be fighting a fucking Yair Rodriguez. He needs to be fighting a Dan Ige, which he's fighting next. He needs to be fighting someone even lower than Dan Ige. He needs to be fighting like a Giga Chikadze. He needs to be fighting like a David Onama. Feeding him straight to Yair Rodriguez is why he did not have success. And it's not because he used to be a Bellator fighter. He's also old, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is like, you feeding these fucking guys with name value to killers in your division instead of letting them acclimate to the like skill set that needs to be. And I'm not saying that, obviously, bro, the UFC is on a higher level than other promotions. I'm not denying that. But what I am saying is that taking these people from outside the promotions and just feeding them to the fucking top people in the division is not smart. Like, do you not want Patchy Mix to be someone in your fucking promotion? Do you not want that name value? A fucking dark horse in the division? Imagine Patchy Mix fought like one of the people I just listed. Imagine he fought like Chris Gutierrez in his debut and just absolutely decimated him. Or imagine he fought like a Ricky Simone, a Kyler Phillips, a Damon Blackshear, a Chris Gutierrez, someone like that in his debut, instead of giving him straight to Mario Batista on an 8-fight win streak coming off of one of the best wins of his career. Like, let Patchy Mix acclimate to the UFC climate, or else you're just wasting his talent and you're wasting his name value. Here is something I want to bring up, bro. How did you guys just forget about him? Alex Pereira is now a top 10, top 15 fighter of all time. UFC double champ, knocked out Adesanya, knocked out Yuri, knocked out Jamal Hill, beat Jan Blachowicz, knocked out Khalil Roundtree. This guy is from another promotion. He's from Glory, and that's not even an MMA promotion. And he is having success at the highest level. And do you know why? If they gave Pereira to Adesanya in his debut, then yes, he would have lost. But because they gave him a Bruno Silva, they give him a Sean Strickland, they give him that other fucking guy he flying knee, I can't remember his name. They give him Adesanya, and he beats them, and he shows that he's a high-level fighter because they built him up. They didn't just feed him straight to the wolves. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Like, give these guys time to develop their skills as high-level MMA fighters. Like, make them earn what they deserve. If Patchy Mix made his debut and this lost off the rip, he sucks then. But we don't really learn anything about Patchy Mix besides saying he wasn't UFC level. Well, why don't we feed him like we feed all these other people? Why don't we build him up instead of just fucking sending him straight into the front lines against Mario Batista? This is why it's the UFC's fault and Dana White's fault, the matchmaker's fault, that Patchy Mix didn't have success in his debut. Let's take Michael Chandler, for example. A lot of people consider Michael Chandler to be a failure. I don't see it that way, because Michael Chandler, he had a very close fight with Oliveira, he had a very close fight with Gaethje, and had a very close fight with Dustin. The Conor layoff ruined Michael Chandler's career. And I'll also say this, Michael Chandler was past his prime when he came to the UFC. He still had success in his title fights, dropping Oliveira, hurting Dustin bad, hurting Gaethje. He had success in these fights because he didn't get fucking straight to the title shot. He got Dan Hooker, was on a terrible losing streak, and he got to acclimate to the fucking skill set of the UFC. Michael Chandler has also fought other UFC fighters before, Eddie Alvarez, Benson Henderson, but the point I'm trying to make is that, yes, Michael Chandler's 2-5 in the UFC, and you could say partially, part of that is because they fucking rushed him straight to the top level people. But at the same time, he still had success against these people because he fought Dan Hooker first and beat him and got acclimated to that fucking skill level. You could also say that Michael Chandler was not successful because he's just been given these really hard fights over and over and over again instead of building up. I think it has more to do with Michael Chandler being old, but Michael Chandler's the most well-known Bellator fighter, so I kind of wanted to just bring him up. Another person that's had success in the UFC, that's from Bellator, Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page is 2-1 in the UFC at his debut fight against Kevin Holland, the fucking gatekeeper of the UFC, Kevin Holland. He beat him, and he got acclimated to that skill level. Then he fought Ian Gary. His fight with Ian Gary was so close. He arguably could have won that fight. And then he fights Shara Bullet, undefeated UFC fighter, and he beats his ass too. And now he's going to fight Jared Cannonier, and I bet he does good against him. I'm not going to pick him to win. The point I'm trying to make is we didn't just give MVP straight to Ian Gary, straight to Leon Edwards, straight to somebody in the top 5. Now he has a name in the promotion. We know that he can hang with some of these people at the top, and that's the point I'm trying to make is why did the UFC give Patchy Mix straight to Mario Batista? Why did they give Patricio Pitbull straight to Yair Rodriguez? And why did they give Ben Askren straight to Robbie Lawler? Ben Askren, another guy, past his prime when he came to the UFC, but this guy was a great fighter at another promotion. They gave him straight to Robbie Lawler. Yes, I know he won the Robbie Lawler fight, but everyone knows that shit was bullshit because he didn't actually tap or go to sleep. Robbie Lawler absolutely mauled Ben Askren in their fight. Why did he maul Ben Askren, and why did Ben Askren get slept in 6 seconds in his next fight? Is because they gave him straight to Robbie Lawler, one of the greatest welterweights of all time. If Ben Askren was fighting some fucking bum in his debut, he probably would have won, and he would have been acclimated to the skill level that needed to be achieved to fight at the highest level in the UFC. But they didn't do that. They just gave him straight to a former champion, someone who'd been in the UFC for a long time, and he got whooped, man. He got destroyed. Alexander Volkov is a multiple-time Bellator champion, and they bring him to the UFC. He has been in the top 5 of heavyweight for like 10 years now. And why is that? Because they didn't fucking give him Stipe in his first fight. They didn't go straight to Ngannou in his first fight. They gave him people that he could beat. He earned his keep in the UFC. And because he earned his keep and built up his skill set and his skill level, he's become a successful name in the UFC. He has headlined many UFC events. People forget, man, Alexander Volkov used to be a Bellator champion, and he's had a lot of success in the UFC. Just beat Cyril Gane. Kai Asakura, he was a champion at Ryzen. And they give this fucking guy a title shot in his debut, and he got destroyed. No fucking shit, he got destroyed. He's fighting one of the pound-for-pound greatest fighters of all time in his UFC debut. He's gonna fucking lose. Because why are we doing this? This guy has so many fans. Do we not want to build up his hype first? Do we not want to get him a win to show, that he's ready for the UFC championship? Nah, man, let's just feed him straight to the fucking wolves and ruin all hype that he has. What is Dana doing? What is Hunter doing? Why are they making these fights where they just feed these fucking champions from other promotions straight to the top of the sport? It's killing them. It's killing their hype. It's killing their aura. And I know a lot of people are going to say they do it just because they can show that the UFC's the best brand. Fuck that, dude. That's fucking dumb. These are people that could be superstars in your sport, and you're just killing off their hype for fucking promotional value? That doesn't make any sense, bro. Like, don't even sign him at that point. Look at this fucking Chechen samurai, Yuri Prohaska. This guy was the champion of Ryzen as well. And he is now a fan favorite. One of the most interesting, fun fighters in the UFC right now. Beat Glover Teixeira. He beat Jamal Hill. He beat Rakic, he beat Reyes, he beat Oezdemir. And why did he do that? Because he got Oezdemir in his debut. The heavier weight classes are a little different. You can give them a little tougher test in their debut because they're not as deep as divisions. But Oezdemir is still not anything crazy. Everyone who beats Oezdemir. Getting Oezdemir in your debut is not crazy, man. Then you get Reyes coming off a knockout loss. And then the fucking title shot. This is the way you build your fighters. You give them an easier opponent, someone that's well tested, but nothing crazy in the division. Then you give them a step up, then another step up, and then they're right there. They got the hype, they got the aura, and they got crazy highlights. Why are we not doing that with Patchy Mix, Patricio Pitbull? Why are we not doing that with them, bro? It doesn't make any sense. And the next thing I want to talk about is they're about to introduce Aaron Pico into the UFC against Movsar Evelev. Movsar Evelev, who should arguably be fighting for the title, who we all can agree would be Volk's toughest fight right now. He's about to fight a guy named Aaron Pico, who's been in Bellator. Oh my god, bro. Like, why are we fucking giving Aaron Pico mob start? Like, if I was Aaron Pico, I'd say, whoa, 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 whoa. Let me get Patricio Pitbull, bro. Slow down, you know? I would be asking for an easier fight. Daniel Cormier was from another organization. Rampage, Shogun, Overeem, fucking even Cowboy. These people are all from other fucking promotions, bro. They have been good because they weren't rushed to the top. When you rush these people to the top, of course they're gonna lose. We don't want you to suck. We want you to destroy Mario Batista. We want Patchy Mix to be good so we can have some more interesting fighters in the division. But of course, we don't get that because the UFC's matchmaking is bad. So yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. If you like the video, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube shit. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.